ओके, सो आज की क्लास में जो हमारे बाकी एमसीक्यूज रह गए थे, ओलेवल्स IGCSE पेपर 1 वेरिएंट 1 मई जून 2023 एंड दिस इज आवर लेटेस्ट पेपर। सो जैसे कि आप देख सकते हो कि 19 वाला पार्ट, 19 क्वेश्चन से आज हमने स्टार्ट करना है बेसिकली। सो in question number 19, at the end of the financial year, Keena had the following items of clothing in her inventory. What was the value of Keena's inventory? Okay, so हमने कीना की इन्वेंट्री जो है वो बेसिकली फाइंड करनी है। ठीक है, कीना की इन्वेंट्री। So 100 t-shirts cost price per unit is $15 and selling price per unit is $30. तो इन्वेंट्री को हमेशा जो है वो लोअर कॉस्ट पे हम लोअर कॉस्ट पे या NRV पे हम वैल्यू करते हैं। इस बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट के बारे में आपको पता होगा। तो इसमें से जो भी आपकी लो प्राइस है आप उसके ऊपर उस टी शर्ट को वैल्यू करोगे, लाइक इन्वेंट्री को उस पे वैल्यू करोगे उस प्राइस लेवल पे। सो इनमें से $15 जो है वो लेस प्राइस है, सो वी हैव टू मल्टीप्लाई 100 shirts with $15. So we have $1,500 answer. Okay, 200 dresses cost price per unit is $40 and selling price per unit is $30. So because our selling price is lower than our cost price, so it means that we are going to value our 200 dresses inventory as per the selling price per unit. So 200 multiply $30. So we have an answer of $6,000. बट बिकॉज हमने दोनों इन्वेंट्रीज को, बिकॉज ये दोनों ही इन्वेंट्रीज जो हैं वो वैल्यू होंगी, जाहिर सी बात है, तो इसलिए अब 6,000 को आप प्लस कर दोगे $1,500 में, सॉरी 1,500 में, तो योर आंसर इज बेसिकली $7,500. Okay, so the question number 20 is, which errors cause the gross profit to be overstated? सो ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट का जो डायरेक्ट लिंक है वो है कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड के साथ। ठीक है, कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड अगर इंक्रीज होगी तो इट मीन्स कि आपका जो जीपी है वो कम हो जाएगा, और कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड जो है अगर डिक्रीज हो जाएगी तो आपका जो जीपी है वो इंक्रीज हो जाएगा। सो क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री अंडर वैल्यूड। अच्छा, अगर क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री को अंडर वैल्यू कर दिया जाए, बेसिकली कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड में कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड में क्या चीजें ऐड हो रही होती हैं? ओपनिंग इन्वेंट्री प्लस आर परचेजेस एंड माइनस क्या हो रहा होता है? अगर आपने कोई ड्राइंग की है गुड्स में से तो वो माइनस होती है, माइनस क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री भी माइनस होती है। ठीक है, तो अगर आपने क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री को इंक्रीज कर दिया, क्योंकि चीजें ऐड हो रही हैं, अगर ये चीजें इंक्रीज होंगी तो कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड इंक्रीज होगी, बट अगर आपने क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री को इंक्रीज कर दिया तो इट मीन्स के कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड डिक्रीज हो जाएगी। और अगर आपने क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री को अंडर वैल्यू कर दिया तो इट मीन्स के कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड क्या होगी? अगर इंक्रीज होने से कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड डिक्रीज हो रही है, तो इसको अगर आप अंडर वैल्यू कर दोगे तो कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड क्या हो जाएगी? इंक्रीज हो जाएगी। ओके, सो दिस इज नॉट आवर आंसर। बेसिकली ओपनिंग इन्वेंट्री ओमिटेड फ्रॉम द इनकम स्टेटमेंट। तो कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड कब इंक्रीज होगी? जिसकी वजह से आपका जो ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट है उसको ओवरस्टेट कर दिया जाएगा। तो बेसिकली अगर ओपनिंग इन्वेंट्री अगर ओमिटेड हो जाती है, यानी कि अगर ओपनिंग इन्वेंट्री आप लिखते ही नहीं हो, तो इट मीन्स कि इसकी वजह से आपका ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट ओवरस्टेट हो सकता है। तो इस एरर की वजह से जो है वो हो सकता है, तो ये बी आपका मोस्ट प्रोबेबली आंसर है। परचेजेस रिकॉर्ड बिफोर डिडक्शन ऑफ द ट्रेड डिस्काउंट, तो परचेजेस को जो है वो आपने रिकॉर्ड किया है ट्रेड डिस्काउंट की डिडक्शन करने से पहले, तो इस ट्रेड डिस्काउंट का इसके साथ जो है कोई लिंक नहीं है, ना इससे वो बहुत ज़्यादा डिफरेंस आता है। सेल्स इनवॉइस सबमिटेड फ्रॉम द सेल्स जर्नल, ये आपके जीपी का पार्ट ही नहीं है। ओके, सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 21, विच ग्रुप कंसिस्ट ऑफ ओनली इंटेंजिबल एसेट्स? बैंक बैलेंस टेंजिबल है, ब्रांड नेम्स इंटेंजिबल है और गुडविल्स भी इंटेंजिबल है। इंटेंजिबल एसेट्स वो एसेट्स होते हैं जिसको आप टच नहीं कर सकते, बट these type of assets is basically is your assets, and you can show your possessions on these assets, but you cannot touch it, unlike the cash and the bank balance and the building and the other assets. So bank balance, again, it is not your intangible asset. Trademarks, yes, this is, and trade receivable, it is not. Brand names, goodwill, and trademarks, yes, C option is seems to be the right option. Okay, so in question number 22, at the end of the financial year, Kareem decided to increase his provisions for doubtful debts. So how will this affect his income statement and the statement of financial position? Okay, so अगर आपकी provision increase हो रही है doubtful debts की, तो it means that your expenses is basically increasing. तो A ऑप्शन नहीं है आपका, B भी ऑप्शन नहीं है, या तो C है या फिर D है। एंड स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन, तो बेसिकली जब भी आपकी प्रोविजन इंक्रीज होगी तो उससे आपके ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स पे अफेक्ट आएगा नेगेटिव। सो इट मीन्स के आपके करंट एसेट जो है वो डिक्रीज हो जाएंगे, तो इंक्रीज नहीं होंगे, ये भी रॉन्ग है। लाइबिलिटी के ऊपर कोई इफेक्ट नहीं आएगा, सिर्फ और सिर्फ सी ऑप्शन आपका राइट है दोनों कंडीशंस में, तो सी इज योर राइट ऑप्शन। ओके, what is included in an appropriation account of a partnership? Annual salary to which each partner is entitled. Okay, so basically ये बात बिल्कुल ठीक है, appropriation account में हम annual salary लिखते हैं। Drawings made by each partner during the year, ये इसमें include नहीं होती, बल्कि interest on drawing include होता है। The closing balance on each partner's capital account, this is also not the part of your appropriation account. डिवीजन ऑफ रेजिडुअल प्रॉफिट बिटवीन द पार्टनर्स, जैसे अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट में आप प्रॉफिट को डिवाइड करते हो बिटवीन द पार्टनर्स, सो आर बी ऑप्शन इज राइट। X and Y are in the partnership with capital of $50,000 and $30,000, so it means that their ratio is 5 into 3 is equal to total 8. The partnership agreement provides that profits are to be shared in the proportion to the capital invested. Like X के पास 5 रेशो जाएगी और 3 जाएगी Y के पास प्रॉफिट की, and each partner is entitled to 10% interest on capital. So profit for the year was $37,000, and what was the total amount credited to Y's current account? So current account, it means that this is our positive balance at the end of the year. Okay, so first of all, we have to calculate the total capital, invested capital, which is 50,000 plus 30,000, 80,000, is our total capital. And let's apply 10% of interest on capital, which would be minus 8,000. So you have to minus this interest on capital from your profit of the year, which is $37,000. This is basically your very simple appropriation account. So if you don't know about it, so you should go through the basic concepts of the appropriation account. Okay, so we have now $29,000. Okay, and we have to find the Y's current account. So that's the reason that we will only divide $29,000 to the Y. So Y's ratio was 3 divided by 8. So we have 10875. So B is our right option. Basically, why I add this 3,000. The capital which is invested by the Y is basically $30,000, and we had applied the 10% of 30,000 because we have to add the interest on capital into the current account of the Y's current account. So that's the reason that I added 3,000 into his profit of share, which is 10875. Okay. So what is an advantage of being a member of a limited company? Number one, loan capital is easy to obtain. No, it is not possible because loan is always very difficult for any company to obtain. Dividends must be paid to the members. So dividend is basically not paid to the member, it is paid to the shareholders. Financial statements are prepared quickly. It is not right because limited company has more complex calculations and more complex transactions, and it basically in the financial statements of the limited company, it has different complex accounts, and there are different number of accounts which we have to make for the limited company. So this is not true as well. So yeah, the company is a separate legal entity, so this is the right option. Okay, so now the limited company provided the following information. So we have issued some share capital, which is 50,000 ordinary shares, and the value of each share is $1. And the profit for the year ended 31st December 2022, which is $13,000. And we transfer some general results out of the profit during the year, which is $6,000. and interim dividend share dividend paid during the year, which is $3,000. So on 31st December 2022, it was decided to use the remaining profit to pay a final ordinary share. So this is basically we have to find the retained earnings, and we have to deduct some values from the profit, and after that we will get to know that what are our retained earnings. So it was decided the remaining profit to pay a final ordinary share dividend, and which percentage final dividend would be the ordinary shareholders receive. Okay, so it means that we have to find the percentage of the final dividend which will be given by the company to the ordinary shareholders. Okay, so basically our retained earnings is equal to 13,000, which is our profit. So we have to write it positive figure here, and we also extract some dollar from our profit, and we transferred 6,000 to the general reserve. So we have to subtract this amount from the $13,000, and also we have paid the interim dividend, which is $3,000. So we have to deduct this as well. So we have remaining retained earnings, which is $4,000, and we have paid this to the final ordinary share dividend, but we have to find that in the percentage. So it means that we have to divide $4,000 by the total amount of ordinary shares which we issued, which is 50,000, and we have to find this in percentage. So that is why we have to multiply it by the 100. So we have the answer, which is 8%. Okay, so P Limited maintains a provision for doubtful debts account on 1st April 2022, and this amount had a balance of $6,200, and the provision should have been increased by $7,400 on 31st March 2023, but this adjustment was not made. Okay. So basically previously it was $6,200, but in real it should have recorded as $7,400, but we mistakenly recorded it by $6,200. So this adjustment basically not made. So what was the effect of this error on the retained earnings in the statement of financial position on 31st March 2023? So basically here we have decreased the provision for doubtful debt. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that we have somewhere overstate our asset, which is a trade receivable, because they are asking about the statement of financial position. So of course the retained earnings will be less, and it is basically overstated by 1,200. If you want to calculate that from where this 1,200 came from, so you have to subtract the $6,200 from the $7,400, because this is the real entry we supposed to make, but we didn't make it, and we just debit, or we have increased the doubtful debts, or we have recorded doubtful provision for doubtful debts, which is basically $6,200. So we have to find a difference, because we have overstated the retained earnings. So it means that option A is the right option. Okay. So after that, MCQ number 28. So what is included in the income and expenditure account of a tennis club? So all amounts received and paid during the year, this is not the part of income and expenditure account. This is basically the part of receipt and payment account. All capital and revenue expenditure incurred during the year. So all capital and revenue expenditure is not basically part of the income and expenditure account. Capital especially is not a part of this, because capital expenditure will include in the statement of financial position, so it is also not included. The closing balance of the accumulated fund, it is not the part of the income and expenditure account. So the profit for the year from the club's shop, yes, this is basically included in the income and expenditure account. So our option D is the right option. Okay, so Tim started a manufacturing business on 1st January 1st January, and he provided the following information about his first year in business. So what we have to find is what was the Tim's cost of production. Okay, so what we have to do in order to complete this question, basically, we have to add the prime cost into the factory overheads. So this would be 70570 plus also closing work in progress. 7570 plus 15530, which is our 4 factory overheads, plus closing inventory of work in progress, which is we have to minus this from, because we have to find the cost of production. So closing inventory is supposed to subtract from this equation. So we have to subtract the 1840, and we have the answer of cost of production, which is 84260. So our option B is the right option. Okay, so after that, Hassan's capital decreased by $2,000 for the year, and even though he made a profit of $7,000, which transactions caused this? Okay, so we have to find the capital introduced or drawings, and we have only two information. The number one information is that basically the capital is reduced in this year, and the profit which we have made this year, which is $7,000. So if we want to we can say that, try to analyze that what is our opening capital can be. So our opening capital can be $1,000. This is just an assumed amount. So what will be our closing capital? Because our capital is basically decreased this year. So if our opening capital was $1,000, so it means that our closing capital is now $800, because it decreased by the $200. Okay, so a closing capital is equal to opening capital plus profit for the year minus drawings plus capital introduced. I am just implying the formula here, which is very normal, and this is the formula. If you want to find the profit, you can also use this, and if you want to find the any missing element from this equation, so you can use this formula. So basically our closing capital, which is, we just assume that it is 800, is equal to opening capital is 1000 plus profit was $7,000, and we don't know the drawings. We have to find this plus capital introduced. Okay, so now we have to basically shift this thing from the right side to the opposite side, because we have to find this. So for doing this, we have to also so 1000 plus 7000, it will be 8000. So when we shift it here, so it will be 8000 minus 800 is equal to drawings minus capital introduced. So 8000 minus 800, which will give us the $7,200 answer, is equal to drawings minus capital introduced. So our answer is basically 7200. So अपन देखेंगे कि ड्राइंग्स और कैपिटल इंट्रोड्यूस में से ये लेस करके कौन सा आंसर है जो कि इक्वल टू 7200 आ रहा है. जो भी आपकी इक्वेशन ड्राइंग में से कैपिटल इंट्रोड्यूस को लेस करके आपको सेम 7200 वाला आंसर दे रही हो, which means that this is your right option. So if we want to minus the 4600 minus $2,200, so it would give you 2400. So this is not the right option. After that, 8800 minus 2000, it is 6800. So it is not the right answer. 6000 minus 1200, and this will give you $4,800, so it will not the right answer. 8,200 minus 1000, so it would give you 7,200. So this A option is the right option. Okay, so after that we have the next question, 31. A trader provided the following information: credit sales is equal to $36,000, and your cash sales is basically 10% of your total sales. So first of all, we have to find the total sales. So we know that, but is the formula is basically cash sales plus credit sales will equal to total sales. Net profit margin, which is 30%. So how much is a net profit? So once we are done with the total sales, so we can easily apply 30% on the total sales, because we know that profit margin means that the profit basically applied on the sales. So once we have done with the calculations of total sales, so we can easily identify that what is our net profit for this year. Okay, so what we have to do is, we know that we don't have any total sales. So if we don't have any total sales, so we can just let the total sales X. Okay. So if X be the total sales, so we know that in this total sales, cash sales will be 10% of X. Okay. So what we have to do is, X is equal to, we have to cross multiply it. X, which is our total sales, and is equal to 10%. Basically, we are using this formula. Total sales is equal to cash sales plus credit sales. Okay. So 10% and X plus 36,000, which is our credit sales. So what we have to do is, we have to find the X. So we have to multiply it from the both sides. So X minus 10% is equal to X plus 36,000, sorry. So 10% is basically 10 divided by 100. So we have to make the same thing here. I know that you know the basic concepts of the LCM. Okay. So this would give you 90 over 100, 90 over 100 is equal to X plus $36,000. We have to make the subject the X, because this is basically representing our total sales. So X is equal to, this will multiply by it when we move this fraction to the right side. 36,000 multiply 100 divided by 90. So just use the calculator here. 36,000 multiply by 100 divided by 90. So 40,000 is basically our total sales. But we know that this is not our answer. We have to find the net profit, and we know that net profit margin is basically 30%. So we just apply this 30% on the sales because margin is supposed to apply on the sales. So 30%, 40,000 multiplied by 30 divided by 100. So we have answer which is 12,000. Okay. So after that, the table shows the gross margin, and the profit margin for 4 businesses. So which business controls its overheads most efficiently? So what we have to do, we have 4 businesses and we have to analyze that which business is basically controlling its overheads more efficiently. So overheads basically are expenses, we know that. So we have to subtract the gross margin and profit margin. So when we will get the lowest answer for any business, so it means that this business is basically operating very well, and that's the reason that their overheads are basically very low. Okay, so 40 minus 70, 17. So this will give us 23. 37 minus 15. This would give us 22. 35 minus 14, and this would give us 21. 30 minus 12, and this is 18. So it means that business D is basically performing very well because its expenses is lower than the other 3 businesses. So D is the right option. So Ramiz works as a sales manager in a car showroom, and he is paid on the basis of the number of cars sold. So it means that whenever he is selling the car, so it means that he will get the commission for it, or he will get the payment from the businessman. Which accounting ratio will be relevant to Ramiz? So gross margin is basically not related to this. Profit margin is also not related to this because it is about the payment method, the payment he is receiving, and it seems like it is kind of the commission things. Rate of inventory turnover. So this seems a good answer because it means that how many number of cars he is basically selling. So it is link with the rate of inventory turnover, that how many times your inventory is basically changing in a year. So we can say that the rate of inventory turnover is basically related to his payment method. Okay. So our second last MCQs is here, and after that we will complete all the MCQs. So Mavindra started a business and paid a check of $1,000 into a business bank account. So we can say that this is basically he invested the capital, and he recorded this in the books of the business by debiting the bank account and crediting the capital account. So which accounting principle did he apply? So we know that we always treat our company, our business, as a separate legal business entity. And when we are recording the dual aspect of this transaction, like we are debiting the bank account and crediting the capital account. So it means that this is the duality concept. So according to this, option A is the right option. In option B, only business entity is right, but not the going concern. Going concern is basically related to your net book values of the assets. And in C, we can also see that this is the going concern, which is not the right option, and matching, this is basically for your income statements. Matching and duality, so duality is the right option, but matching is again is not the right option, because matching is basically most of the time it applies on your income statements, because we are matching the revenues and expenses in any income statement. So this is the concept of matching concept. So option A is the right option for this answer. So MCQ number 35, a trader always recorded assets and expenses in his ledger at the price he paid for them. So which accounting principle is he applying? So business entity is not there. We already discussed that what is the concept of business entity. Prudence is also not there. Realization is basically when we are recording our sales, when it is realized. So this is the concept of realization. So whenever we are purchasing something and when we are basically recording the assets and the expenses value or its real value, so it means that we are following the historical cost. So B is the right option.